Once I learned that I was headed to Cape Town, South Africa, I was eager to get my first look and feel the vibe of a place that was absolutely foreign to me. After 30 hours of travel and arriving at 11 p.m. in Cape Town, I felt like I was in a daze. But my excitement had not diminished at all. That excitement ebbed into a gloomier mood as we drove through the township, where I caught a glimpse of the economic diversity. As we continued our drive, we left the densely populated towns and approached what seemed to be a great white cloud or storm cell. I had to rub my eyes to realize that just ahead were the steep cliffs of Cape Town's mountain face. Clinton met me early that morning. We went straight to the birthplace of surfing in South Africa, Muizenberg, for a blessing session into South Africa's ocean. After getting past the cold shock of slipping into my wetsuit, still damp from the APP World Tour event in New York, I couldn't help but reflect upon the past as I walked into the water with my hydrofoil and the new evolution of surfing it represents. I was thinking about the first surfers here in the 1920s and about scenes from Endless Summer. Jumping into the ocean and being immersed by the water, my daze from travel was cleansed, and I was solidly back to the present moment. Today we are meeting with two of South Africa's original pioneers of big wave surfing and the early adopters of the waterman lifestyle here in Cape Town. We arrived to Melkbos at sunrise, where we met with James and Jacques and started to set up the jet skis and foils. I was doing my best to manage with the bite of the morning's chill as I experienced the temperature shift from one side of the Cape to the other. After our morning jet ski session in Melkbos, it was time to pack for our 3-day mission up the coast. Our drive started late in the afternoon, but that still gave us enough time to hit a novelty wave that Kyle has been thinking could be surfable and super unique. Once we caught a visual of the water, we saw we were working with a crazy setup.
Woo! It's cooking! It's cooking! Dude, it's the one! It's the one I was speaking about, guys!
Clinton and Julia got on the road shortly after we did from Musenberg, but by this time, after our Steenbras Bridge foil session, they were well ahead and giving us a surf report from Buffalo's Bay.
First session on the East Coast. Zane, how was your ride, bro?
So fun, bro. We got to, what's this place called again, Dale? Buffalo's Bay? Buffalo's Bay is like foil heaven. Foil heaven, just peak to peak, boil to boil, rock to rock until you just make contact and eject. Regardless of our rock and roll across the rocks, these damn foils have passed my strength test. Jeez. I mean, I hit pretty hard and I don't see any really nicks. As evening rolled in after our full day of road tripping and adventuring, we finally arrived at our destination in St. Francis Bay, at the lovely home of Dale and his family. Is this where you got your nickname from? Ducky? The next morning, Kyle woke up Dale and I before sunrise. We got our morning buzz on, then started our surf check right in front of the house. With the small and clean waves peeling down the coast and the vision of South Africa's section from Endless Summer in my head, I decided to trim and ride the nose on a log and pay my respects to this historical wave. As the morning continued on and dawn's color turned to beaming light, I headed in to switch crafts. I always like to keep balance, and the ocean consistently reminds me of the importance of this. Time to bust out the latest innovation of surfing today, the hydrofoil. Let's see what this thing can do. A stunning sunset marked the ending of the day, and at the same time, a fish pile had approached the lineup, attracting hundreds of birds from all corners of the bay. Every minute, more flocks of birds joined in on this feeding frenzy, and we were witnessing fish boiling the surface of the water. It was like the cherry on top to finish the day.
This stuff is no joke.
Yeah.
Fucking
Oh, zebra. Where? Cock. Zebra cock.
Dude, it ripped my skin off.
Oh, watch out.
What?
Lift your leg. Lift your legs. You're
What?
going to get shocked. You're joking. You're such a fucking...
The next day reeled us back into the Cabby, and we drove towards the great grasslands of South Africa. There was a nearby wildlife land reserve where we could check out some real wildlife. Within the first hour of the drive into the reserve, I was on the edge of my seat. I had a feeling of weariness, sort of uncomfortable on land with no familiar ocean to go to. Maybe this is the feeling many experience when they immerse themselves in the ocean. After a few hours, though, I started to feel like a fish out of water. It was time to get back to my natural environment. The diversity of South Africa's wildlife inspired me to adopt diversity in my following sessions.
Let me tell you what it takes. Something no one ever did for me. I'm going to give you the benefit of my experience. Do you understand, mister? What you got the other night was just a subject. The fire is yet to come, yet to come.
With 2 days left in our trip, we still were awaiting patiently for that Jeffreys Bay swell to arrive. It seemed to potentially be lining up well, and we took the last chance we could to ride this iconic wave. With my first look at it, I thought, damn, what a wave.
What?
Bro,
Out
how
there.
come we haven't been surfing you the last few days? Bro, this looks...
Where are we going? What are we doing? What has mankind achieved? The seeds we're sowing, what will be growing? Will everyone be deceived? I think we've got our values all mixed up, and I don't know which way to turn. I can't provide any answers, but here's a lesson we all could learn. We could start this world over, turn the magic on again. We wouldn't have to run for cover, 'cause everybody could be friends, really good friends. Hey, you Africans and the Chinese, hey, you Indians too, you Anglo-Saxons, Aryans, hey there Arab and Jew. You don't have to call me brother, since that is so hard to do. No, you don't really need to bother, but here is something we all can do. We could start this world over, turn the magic on again. We wouldn't have to run for cover, 'cause everybody would be friends, really good friends.
Ew! That was freaking insane. I didn't think I was gonna find you guys, bro. We didn't make a plan for after the. We rolled up. We're like, okay, just catch a long one, and then
That was the whole point.
bro, my first wave ever at J-Bay too. Well, I mean, I got pounded a few times, like trying to get.